Hello everybody and welcome to Game 5, King of the Hill, Week 8. We have here at the moment a seemingly undefeatable king in Carl, who is currently playing USF on the southwest side of Crossroads.
We have a master in the north that deals with the undefeatable and makes them defeated. It is VonIvan, the master of chaos, hailing from America, playing as OKW. He is a King of the Hill veteran. He's going to be making life very difficult for Carl.
He is, yeah. VonIvan is a pretty incredible player in KotH, actually. He's one of the most aggressive push play moment players in the game. If there is a gap that you leave, VonIvan will fill it. And that is by no means.
Oh, right, really? He's known to the local police forces. He's a terrorizing presence, mostly on the battlefield of Company of Heroes, it must be said, though. And here he's playing as OKW. Must be said, a faction that he is known for playing all 5 factions, let's face it, but OKW isn't sometimes seen as his strongest. He usually favours Wehrmacht. So it's interesting to see that the Master of Chaos is throwing a little bit of more chaos into the maelstrom with that choice.
Absolutely, yeah. We have seen VonIvan play some good games with OKW before, and usually it has involved Scavenge Doctrine with the Ostwind. We don't see that today. What we've got today from VonIvan is Luftwaffe Ground Forces, Fortifications Doctrine, and of course Overwatch, which we might get to see that sexy Goliath go off at some point.
He uses that, you know. He's used that in big competitive games, well, on auto match at least. Before Overwatch, and it has been buffed a little bit. That Flammenhetzer's really tricky to kill, to be honest. It's got quite a good armor profile now. It's quite beefy, and that beef is well seared. So it's something you could go for.
I think Flammenhetzer's from Firestorm.
Oh, my bad. I'm on about the wrong thing. Sorry, I don't know why I thought that. That's
it's
what
so rarely used.
Using them both.
It's so rarely used.
Goliaths, he's good with them as well, but they're trickier to pull off.
Of course, but anyway, a pretty standard opening here. We see OKW going down the right-hand side of the map. Von is trying to take Carl's resources off at the start of the game. He's not even going over to cap his own on the left-hand side. In fact, Carl has done that. So both players have gone for the same kind of game style at the start of this. And it has become already at the start of this game.
These Foch Grenadiers, the Stern Piney is massing up behind that stall. It's pretty much like a fate. And they're saying, you know, retreat back to base because we're setting up stall right east side entrance of your base.
Yeah, I mean, it should be easy for Carl to fight out of this. It's very close to his base, so he can quickly come back, reinforce, deal the damage, start to push VonIvan off. In fact, it looks like he might be going left side of the map now.
He's going to have to, let's be honest, because, you know, although there is that very, very south side base exit, it's condensed, you're putting yourself in a difficult prospect, there's negative cover all around, so I think west side is the logical choice for Carl, and he's elected for it, but it must be said, VonIvan's come out of the blocks, his head down, sprinting away, and it is going to be a little bit tricky for Carl to re-establish himself in the early game.
Yeah, difficult, but he still did connect fuel resource, so I don't think he's going to be too pressured. One thing, though, is, of course, he's lost a lot of strategic points. Like, Von's dominating those, and you do still get a lot of resources from that.
Saying that, Dan, just as you say that, Caster's Curse, in the east, Carl's Rifleman's escaped the boiling point here, and he's able to decap, possibly cap that strategic point, so... It's a nice escape by him there.
That's a very intelligent decap, because that has now removed VonIvan from all resources on the south and southeast. So a really, really intelligent move from Carl. And great gameplay, really.
Great gameplay.
We do see that
he also dodges and M20 in the build as well. I was just complimenting Carl's micro to so quickly rush forth ahead of the incendiary grenade. He did it very quickly indeed, and he seems like a man at the top of his powers, does this mysterious player that is Carl.
It is, yeah. One thing that's going to be difficult here, so the M20 is going to come in and try and deal with the 4 Volks Grenadiers on the field from VonIvan. But Von is already getting his battle group headquarters up, so these Volks Grenadiers are going to be able to Faust, and Carl does not want to get too close with that unit. He does not want to lose it to kind of like a hail of Fausts from the Volks Grenadiers. You know, but that being said, you know, we know that light vehicles at the early stages of the game can force your opponent to make a unit choice, and in this case it would be the Raketten.
Now he's going to force the Raketten because KotH is it's a top-level auto-match player from what we've seen. He's seemingly having a great day in this competitive scenario today as well. But it seems VonIvan's just going to throw himself ahead with the flat half-track choice of 55 fuel. He's going to try and keep that on the battlefield. It is, it can push away an M20, so it is a valid option still.
Not too much telling the early game, to be honest. One thing has to say though is that VonIvan was very, very brutal at the start of this, but KotH has just been so good, really, like so good at at capping. We already see, if VonIvan's paying attention, we've already seen a doctrine selected here by the symbol above the rear echelon's head. And that suggests the quick capping ability from recon support, which KotH has chosen, same as the last game. So we're going to be seeing that similar strategy that built up over a long game, really. It's
a really good build order. I'm a huge fan of it. I'm, to be honest, taking mental notes because it's just a cool dynamic to have the lieutenant, but still have one of the best parts of the captain tier, and of course get paratroopers out as well. So it's a good idea from KotH. M20 harassing this VonIvan grenadier. He is going to try and stick around for a Faust. He gets it off. There is no follow-up though, of course, unless the flak half-track can rear its ugly head very quickly.
Flak half-track, it's going to have vision from the stern pioneers. It's going to have enough vision, I think, if it sets up. So you can see it's coming down this direction already. Von doesn't seem to be using it for that purpose. In fact, he's just going to bring it up. Oh, this is great positioning. This is really good positioning.
M20 crew disembarks. They do, of course, have the bazooka, but the flak half-track's found its prey. This natural hunter, however, he's going to get behind the log pile. He pops. M2 smoke pots. Flak half-track can shoot from within. No, it's goes straight through the smoke.
The question is, will he get out now? Will he disembark and try and use the bazookas? Will he at least try and save the vehicle crew squad? No. In fact, he thinks he can get it around and keep out-microing the flak half-track. There's a bit of a dance going on here.
Good job. Here come the anti-tank rifle grenades of the Vet 1 rifleman as well, so he has a very small chance. M2 smoke pots are on a 7-second recharge. He has another escape attempt if he needs it. What great micro from KotH this has been.
He's not going to get away from a Faust though. He pops out of the vehicle and he's going to use it maybe for cover. No, not able to. So still a good engagement. He's rescued the vehicle crew, which is really important here. But let's just look at the map at the moment, because Von is trying to strangle his opponent out of resources. He's got a great area denial with the flak half-track. And he's taken a lot of map control, yet still KotH is triple capping him on VP, so this game is all over the place.
It is
capping.
It's so difficult to keep ahead of. The one thing we know for certain, the only thing that is now written down, is that the M20's lost for a total of 340 manpower, 20 fuel, so it is a squad wipe. A sizable one is what I'm trying to say. So we're going to have to wait and see how this game develops. I mean, what have we seen from the players in terms of aggressiveness, micro, their actual skill on the battlefield so far? They seem quite evenly matched, it must be said, Dan.
I do think they're evenly matched. They're both playing games with each other, which I think is really, really cool to see. They're both being really aggressive on each other's sides, but actually both players have paid great attention to detail to engagements. They've paid great attention to cover and mechanics, and that's good. And do you know what we didn't see in the last game? KotH actually played so well that he didn't need to build the A half-track. Well, in this game against VonIvan, he's building it because he is under more pressure, so it's really good to see.
So VonIvan Grenadiers have now changed target onto the retreating rifleman, which has allowed just enough of a window for the flak half-track to reset up. This rifleman behind the Fate stall there is going to have to make its quick exit. Elsewhere in the northwest, it's another similar picture for the USF. OKW have won out in those engagements also, thanks to heavy sandbag cover. So, to be honest, KotH looks like he's still in a little bit of difficulty here.
Yeah, I mean, it is difficult. I think 4 Volks Grenadiers is really good from VonIvan, because we know that with teching, USF gets that kind of free squad added to its added to the army. And what Von's done is, by going for the 4 Volks Grenadiers, he's kind of evened that out a little bit so it has less impact. It forces KotH to bring out vehicles in order to counteract this.
And so that vehicle is, of course, the AA half-track reversing its way onto the field. That huge cannon Not quite the techno steady beat of the Funkwagen, which we may be getting onto later today, but it is a fearsome weapon, Dan. It's more than a match for the flak half-track also.
Yeah, I mean, you kind of argue which one is harder to control, because this one's always got to be in reverse. It has to be static to get the armor-piercing rounds off. Whereas, you know, flak half-track, it's got smoke, and it's, you know, it has a setup time. So both of them have their pros and cons. But I would say, at least, that the A half-track is the more mobile killer.
I've just noticed something, that the flak half-track has no wing mirrors. And, of course, there's no way for the driver to see behind him. So that is really amazing that he's able to drive backwards for the entirety of the duration of the time on the battlefield without even being able to see where he's going. He must be like, left a bit, right a bit. Come on, we found the flak half-track.
Really good communication is needed for this kind of thing.
Must be. Flak half-track was already set up. Faust was in waiting as well. It was an ambush from VonIvan. The American player KotH has been able to get away, but it doesn't look like the riflemen are going to have a fun time of getting away themselves.
This is one of the things that I love about King of the Hill, and I don't want to say too much too early, but Carl has made mincemeat of a number of players today, and yeah, it's just so interesting that play styles between players can affect things so differently. Von's play style here is putting so much pressure on Carl that it's just a completely different game from what we've seen in the last two games. And you know, VonIvan is every time he steps into the arena for this tournament, he's just playing a different game, but a really good game.
I think he's got a point to prove as well. He's got a few points. Obviously, there was that week where we've had to change the rules, and unfortunately VonIvan couldn't play that particular week. But also, you know, he's had a few challenges recently. Dave has been looking likely to possibly be known as the best USF tournament player for a while because of his really great success in Romeo's tournament. And there's a few other little things like, you know, Carl having the better of him in auto match a few times. So he's got a lot of points to prove on Ivan. He's always been trying to make himself one of the best players in the world. He's succeeded for the most part, but there's always challenges, and that makes a great player into an even better player.
We've got the Greyhound on the field right now, and Carl's managed to force a retreat of the Raketten, and there's no mines on this retreat path. I think Carl's trying to be a little bit careful as he goes through, but this was the counter to the flak half-track. He's extended his lead. Sorry, not his lead. He's actually just created the comeback that he needed through this commander vehicle call-in. So great play, and he's rewarded now by having two very, very good
Saying
vehicles.
That he's about to roll over a mine with that Greyhound. That's where that mine needed to be earlier, possibly. You can't really think about those things too much, I guess. Von with a slightly late retreat on the MG34 in the east. Could be going down there if the turret can make it. Riflemen are going to finish it off. There you go.
Wow, and typical of this game, I mean, just as we're saying, wow, Von playing amazingly, being brutal.
Faust coming in on the ground to finish it off, Dan. Is it going to be able to make it? 50 Cal's trying to get in position. It's darting around, dancing around. Here come the M20 crew.
It might miss.
Getting away. Oh, gets it through the window, through the other window. What a skill shot. Amazing.
Yeah, I mean, sometimes they do hit the walls and the buildings and things like that. I was hoping for a little bit of luck there, perhaps. But yeah, game going very, very much back and forth at the moment.
This is such a cool game. This has been my most enjoyable one of today. Stern Pioneers in a tricky situation, though. The 50 cal needs to get... Sorry, the AA half-track needed to get around the edge of that garrison. Couldn't quite do it. Looks like the MG34 might be put back into OKW
you can see
hands.
Actual effective cluster bombs here.
Oh, this is brilliant.
Just missed that. Oh, no! Carl's gone into tier 4. It could get that last shot to kill. What?
Admiral Akbar, eat your heart out. It was one trap after another. Like my holiday to Thailand, that was. It was all over the place, and
this game is like Saw. You know the film where it's like you think you know what's happening, but then suddenly it's like, no, this person did this. This is crazy.
80s slasher pick. You know when Chucky the doll's dead, or Jason's dead, or whatever. Mike Myers. Oh no, it's fine. It's like, hang on. You look down on the film bar. It's only 80% of the way through the film, and all of a sudden he jumps out of the ceiling. And that's exactly what we're seeing happen here.
Oh wow! Well, I mean, this is yeah, turning around again. 355 VPs to 358. The resources, I mean, just not looking too dissimilar. and it's just a crazy game. Both players trying to reclaim and claim at the same time all over the map. It's really interesting. We're seeing the OKW VonIvan picking the Panzer IV as his choice to solidify a bit of the map color.
Yeah, it's a great idea. He's just lost the M20 crew and given away a bazooka as KotH. But as you said, I mean, VonIvan, Panzer IV, OKW, always an excellent choice. I mean, I can never really foresee a situation where it isn't a good choice as the next vehicle to kind of get. It's just such a good all-rounder. It's everything the Wehrmacht Panzer IV wishes it was.
It's let's have a look at the what's coming up here. So we haven't got majors not being teched at the moment. There isn't a late game call in from this commander, and we haven't had the paratroopers called in with the AT gun. So Panzer IV is going to be incredibly effective when it comes onto the field, as it does right now.
Why is the OKW announcer so angry? He's just announcing that a tank has been built. Panzer IV, ready for action. That's so comical. Couldn't they have got somebody that's a good voice actor to do that line, you know?
I mean, he's got a lot to deal with. The faction was based on a failing army, trying to kind of get grips. He's constantly having a bad day.
Yeah, I guess so. He's just grumpy. It's not like relishing the fact that it's ready for action. He's more lamenting the fact the last tank we've got better make it work.
I think we get to see the airborne drop in here. I hope they're being dropped in the base right now. They take ages to come on, which is...
I really do.
There it is. You can see them coming in right now. This is an ability, of course, calls in the AT gun and the paratroopers for a very reasonable cost.
Very reasonable indeed. It's almost like 2 for the price of 1 in terms of cost value. Panzer IV's having a field day, though, literally in the field, driving around, just having a bit of fun, killing Americans. Exactly, it's a perfect hunting environment. It's great to see the old cat have a nice time.
Really a dominant unit right now. AT gun is really late at 17 minutes. The first AT that we've had from USF is kind of a late pick. I wouldn't normally do this, but I have just seen something from someone in chat which I would like to say out. It says, so happy to catch today's games. I just brought KotH 2, quickly becoming my main game. Caught last week's games and brought it after an hour. So it just goes to show kind of like it's a great game.
Oh no, I linked one of the Relic devs, another quote very similar to that. Just like, where's our commission? Surely we should get commission. This is ridiculous.
We'll see.
But no, it is for the joy of the community and watching. This is our favourite game as well. It is not just our main game; it's my only game.
What?
It's just looked great to see it survive year after year, and not only survive but thrive, and that's really cool for me to see.
Von's building artillery piece in his base.
Wow, that's so cool.
This is interesting because looking at the map right now, Carl has a lot more units, but Von has a lot more control, and Von is kind of bailing out on another vehicle potentially. I don't know, because he hasn't got the fuel, so it's not the worst choice in the world. But against all this infantry from the USF, you have to be very confident of your micro skill and your engagement.
He's just done a good job of dispelling the Panzer IV. He got some great shots in thanks to the bazookas on the upgrade there. So not so much of an anti-infantry squad anymore as an elite anti-vehicle squad.
Oh, there we go. Artillery is up, and that's going to be long shelling the USF base, I imagine. Very cheeky from Von to be doing that.
He could take out the ambulance straight away if he wanted to, if he knew where it was, I guess.
Yeah. Let's have a look at the map. One of the interesting things is that we see 3 MGs from USF, and no indirect... Well, we do have the indirect fire now from Von. Whether he meant this or not, he can at least provide some kind of a counter. But he has to be much more careful with his infantry when he's moving around now, just due to obviously being caught up in suppression engagements, which will slowly work up back towards the base. Difficult one.
It is a very difficult one, and you know what's difficult in general is that this game is still incredibly evenly matched right now. We have VonIvan with a lot of his material in the medium tank and the artillery piece he has built, and we have KotH, which has a superior infantry-based army and the 4 support weapons compared to VonIvan's only Raketenwerfer. So it's an interesting composition. Very eager to see how it plays out. if you ask me who my money's on, I'm going to be on VonIvan because I know a howitzer is perfect for taking out machine guns and AT guns, etc.
Yeah, you can hear it firing now. Let's have a look where it's going. I think he's aiming for the base. I think that's the first shot in. There we go. It's yeah, he is base to base firing right now, and you can see Carl here. He's spotted it immediately. He's trying to move everything around, but at this range, the LEFH spread is so big that you can't really guarantee you're not going to get hit when you move. So it's a dangerous gamble for Carl to stay in here.
It's an incredibly dangerous gamble. He's got to be a little bit dangerous now because he's dicing with danger and death in the form of that huge howitzer piece, 10.5 centimeters, smashing from the skies above. The ambulance has become just that, no longer a stationary object. It's now on the battlefield itself.
I'm kind of hoping that we get to see cluster bombs on the LEFH. I think that would be interesting. One thing that is interesting though, Von has overextended a little bit with this Panzer IV. It has taken damage, and will we see this second squad get the AT grenade? There is an AT gun waiting. We do have echelons. Do they have bazookas? No, they don't. But of course those paratroopers are hanging around, I believe.
They are. They're lingering. Panzer IV's taken the long way out, and it spotted the danger, did VonIvan. And you know, I think VonIvan's vehicle micro is possibly in the top 1% of Company of Heroes players. I mean, he credits people like Dave as having excellent vehicle micro when asked in chat. And I had in my mind when I asked him, who do you think's got the best tank micro? I honestly think it's Von. I've seen him do stuff with tanks that is otherworldly, that puts him on a different tier. His tank pushes are beautiful. So
we're seeing more base fire from the artillery. You can see in the distance there firing on Carl's headquarters. It has actually shifted the headquarters location because Carl is able to use his major for a forward retreat point with his ambulance, and of course if that gets found out by the Panzer IV, that is a difficult situation to not be able to heal his units.
Just seen Honey Nuts. The only question with Von is how many infantry squads will die whilst he's microing his tanks, and I think that's hit the nail on the head there. That's what makes him so exciting to watch, though. He is a glass cannon player. Doesn't quite have the you know, you'll see if we had like a stat wheel, you'd see, you know, Love Nest is quite high on most of the stats. VonIvan puts all of his chips on vehicle micro and all in pushes. Oh, good hits in from the bazookas there. Wow.
Yeah, I was just worried a little bit if we were giving out the caster's curse there. Von calls the second Panzer IV, but that one nearly went down there. Another shot from any form of anti-tank would have killed that.
The artillery cannon has got 17 seconds left. It's got no kills so far, Dan. It was a heavy investment, of course.
Where he's aiming it as well. He knows where he's going. He knows where he's firing, and I think it is going to be on the ambulance. He's seen that it's missing. Oh, he's also got enough munitions. By the way, he's building up munitions for potentially his Zuring artillery, which is a huge area denial ability that comes on. That being said, though, Carl is close enough to this artillery piece. He could go up and put the cluster bombs on.
That'd be
he hasn't taken that opportunity.
I think that's another problem with artillery, is when it attains veterancy, it's so quick to lose it should you get something like cluster bombs on it, etc. I'm liking VonIvan's composition now. He's got 82 population cap in the bag. His army size is quite large. But talking of glass cannons, he's very much got one firing right now. It still has 0 kills. It's still not recouped the investment in it. So, we might see a VonIvan style push here from VonIvan himself. He's got 2 Panzer IVs amassing. Rakettenwerfer moving into artillery fire.
Give him 2 minutes, I think, or at least let him reconnect his resources, because he's got that zeroing artillery. I mean, if he makes that push now, he could then use it outside of Carl's base and just maximize the amount of time before Carl can get back on the field. Unfortunately, Raketten there, a little bit too far forward. I think he's using that to scout, interestingly, which is sensible because of its stealth abilities, but you don't want to lose that Raketten.
Everybody knows the Germans used an improvised anti-tank weapon, a Panzerschreck on wheels, as an elite spy unit. Hence why it has stealth in this game. Elsewhere in the west, got Foch Grenadiers sitting behind green cover, taking up position Artillery's finally ready. Is it mistimed though, Dan? Would you rather have seen him use it as part of a push?
No, I actually quite like it because it makes a new focal point for the game. It might even lead to a commander choice. Do you know what I mean? That's this paratroopers invisible?
Yes.
I didn't realise they could do that.
Well, it's one of the reasons they have hold fire as an option. Probably one of the many changes.
I thought it was only Pathfinder, so you learn something new every day. Very interesting. But yeah, no, the thing with the LAFH is I quite like it. I like the idea of it. I was hoping that it would
kill something, anything, ever.
Oh look, I've just been told it's with the Zook upgrade. Ah, see, so
okay.
That is why I've never seen it before. And I'm thinking like, really? Like, very cool.
But it makes sense that it has that because you know, ambushing tanks is all about stealth. In order to get the bazookas to work, here we go. We finally got the zeroing artillery, and he's going to try and take KotH from being a hero to being a zero right now. As this huge cannons on the off map,
yeah, of course,
align their focus.
This artillery fires more and more shells as long as there are units present in the area. You see them slow firing now. It will get faster and faster with a huge hit on the retreating infantry
huge.
There. This AT gun being there will mean that more and more shells fire down in quicker succession. You're seeing it now.
In a difficult situation though. Bazookas firing.
This is bait. I think this is bait. Look at the infantry dying!
For the LAFH with a huge barrage. That is an absolute catastrophe for KotH.
This is bait if I've ever seen it. He's using this off-up ability.
Clearing up the panzers, so it's a trade-off.
No, he's going to lose everything!
Oh my god, it's all dying! Jesus Christ! This is the master of chaos. The chaos. Oh my god!
Oh my god!
Celebrations.
That is classic intelligent play because he knew it was too tempting to take those 2 Panzer IVs down. He knew his opponent would take the bait and walk into zeroing artillery. An ability that gets stronger with the more units that are inside the circle, and that is devastating.
Insane. That was one of the coolest things I've ever seen. He sacrificed 2 Panzer IVs to literally destroy KotH's infantry force. He devastated it. He has the fuel to now bring on a 3rd Panzer, and that was just so cool. Zeroing RT followed up with the LFEH.
Yeah, great. Really, really great play. Fortifications is not the easiest commander to play aggressively, but Von is showing us how to master it here. And this is one thing I absolutely love to see from players, is bringing their own strategies in. Cool strategies, new strategies, off meta, and making it look as incredible as that was.
As casual and cool as VonIvan is about doing stuff like that, it's like, I'm gonna get you with the old second howitzer camouflage.
You can hear him there right now going, oh, I don't think my opponent is good enough to not take these Panzer IVs. I'm gonna call down some zeroing artillery.
I think we're giving him too much credit. I know VonIvan's an intelligent guy, and the voice is, you know, a part of the persona. But also, I think he's stumped with him being the master of chaos and the captain of calamity and the chief general of catastrophe. I think he stumbles across these little things. Like, he's got that kind of free-flowing gameplay where he plays for fun for a large part, and it feeds into his competitive edge. You know, he'll come across these things, and other players won't because they're not quite as aggressive as he is, and it's why he's so fun to cast.
Artillery piece, Veterancy 2 now on 13 kills, so not doing too badly. It's a slow starter, but it does pick up with Veterancy, and can become an interesting unit. Although, oh, Carl, beautiful!
Beautiful canister shot there. It's like us back in 2014, and that thing was the most overpowered thing in history. But it certainly was very powerful there. Got the squad wipe.
Yeah, and those all count right now. These are really moves that count for everything. He's trying to make huge plays with this unit. It's also the scouting unit for the Jackson. Will he be able to turn this Raketin? No, Raketin does not take the bait. And I think the Greyhound's struggling there to decide where it's going.
7-dimensional Scrabble. As VonIvan didn't take the bait, we'll still find out regardless. Jackson's now on the hunt, and it is now a hunting tank destroyer thanks to its health profile changes. It's going for it, Dan. KotH's going to have to attack around and miss, but he still was thinking about it.
Yeah, he can't go any further because of tier 4, and he doesn't know what other threats are kind of waiting. Reload times now on artillery. just putting more shots down the centre. And I think just the presence of the artillery, because Karl hasn't figured out a way to counter this yet. There's pressure to provide a counter to that, because whenever it's firing back in the base, it's just making micro pressure. He has to move his units to just not suffer manpower losses at random. So it's a great little unit to add in.
So the artillery piece now has increased rate of fire, having achieved veterancy 2. And at some point, Karl will probably have to try and get rid of the veterancy on that LEFH, because the more shells it fires, the stronger it'll grow, and before he knows it, it'll be dominating the battlefield.
Got the opportunity here for another supply drop of the paratroopers and AT guns, something that he may need. But not having infantry on the field. Having infantry on the field is...
Oh, look at this Jackson and paratrooper combo there, Dan. He's flanked the Raketenwerfer. The Panzer IV's in a difficult spot. It's backed its way into that hedgerow. You shot because the bazookas find them.
Could actually be interesting. A big shot there, and it goes off. Jackson gets it. Was he using an upgrade? Yes, he was. He was using the HVAP shells there to finish that off. Now he's going for the Raketen with a new Greyhound that's just come on the field. And
so cool.
Yeah, really, really good play. Great micro. And Karl saying that he is still not out of this game yet.
So what VonIvan fell into the trap of there was because of his increased confidence having wiped most of Karl's army, whereas before he may have decided to retreat with the Panzer IV and get out of there, he kept in the engagement and looked for a cheeky shot and opened his army up to the RNG gods. LEFH firing in base. This poor lieutenant just came onto the battlefield, by the way, and its first entrance onto the battlefield was to eat a shell. It might eat another on retreat. Oh god.
Yeah, the shells that are landing down at the moment, they are picking off models slowly and over
Jackson
time.
Versus Panzer IV. And it's just been repaired, and VonIvan didn't realise how quickly it would be, so he just went straight for it and got found out because of that.
Oh, Von making a very, very difficult cap there. Was lucky not to lose that Volksgrenadier squad to an MG. Could be a nice Faust from Von's Volksgrenadiers on the Jackson. That would create difficulties. But Jackson is actually reversing into... It's a trap,
It is a trap. The Raketenwerfer's lined up. It gets a shot in. Raketenwerfer's not got the line of sight. One more shot from the Jackson required. It's reloading ever so slowly. And it's taken out by the Panzer Faust.
It is, yeah. Karl realizes at this point he does not have anything left. And after a huge fight, is going to throw in the towel. What a game. That was one of the best games we've cast in a while.
I love it. That's in my top 20, I'd say. I just loved it. It had so much... Just the howitzer moment with the zeroing in combination was so cool.
Yeah. Well, there we go. And we do have a new king for Von's 70th reign.
Indeed.
Anyway,
the peasants aren't even coming to the coronation ceremony. Like, oh, we've got King Von again. Oh, no.
I guess we have to put on that voice again. Oh, here comes the king.